Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you for joining me this week. Thank you for appreciating the beard mic. While it's still here, it's going to be going soon. Going to be cleaning this hole up soon. But before I go out of town, I didn't want to leave you guys without a video this week. By the time you're watching this, I'm actually probably on my way back into town. Anyway, let's talk quarantine and why it's so important. It's that dirty word, quarantine. Okay, so quarantine in the most ideal scenario would be like a completely different building, different air supply, different set of tools, managed by whoever on a different day, so there's no cross-contamination, right? The main point is to prevent any cross-contamination. So I have only one building, so I just use my living room as my quarantine space. A completely different set of tools for them, and I work them either after everybody and then shower, or just on a completely separate day. So today I haven't showered yet from work, and I'm going to take care of quarantine, then shower, and I'll be all good, change of clothes and everything. So cross-contamination mentality at hand. But what happens is anytime you get animals in, you have to quarantine them, or you should. I never unbox animals in the snake room. They stay in the living room, quarantine like over there, and yeah, they live there until they've got a clean bill of health, clean fecal runs, no external parasites or anything wrong like that. And yeah, so the one thing you got to remember though is if you get animals in there and then you bring new ones into quarantine, your quarantine clock for all of them should restart back at 0. So I've got some animals that have been here for 2 months, but I picked up some new ones a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whenever it was, and clock reset for everybody. So what I'm doing is some preventative treatment, and I'm going to show you kind of my P's and Q's and what I do. So first and foremost, some Dawn dish soap and some lukewarm water for every animal to soak in is completely harmless and a great way to drown any external parasites on them, and gives them a little bit of a chance to hydrate, but it also gets them out of their enclosure and gives you a chance to treat their enclosure while they soak. It's a chemical-free way to kill any mites directly on contact, and the soap is obviously harmless to them. And yeah, it's a really stress-free way to hydrate, soak, and kill any external parasites gently. Although we don't care about the parasites. We're being gentle about the animal. So I'm going to repeat this process for all the animals, but for the sake of simplicity in this video, I'm just going to show you the process for this little rosy boa here. This is one of my Hualapai Mountain, Arizona locale rosy boas. This is the male, and I don't have any external parasite concerns about him, but for the sake of what we are going to do, I'm going to dunk him and soak him anyway, and then I will show you what I do with the little quarantine tub while he's soaking. First, you want to clean using some disinfectant. This right here is a dilute chlorhex solution, so you're going to spray that in there, let that sit, and once I wipe that out, then we're going to do the next step. All right, so you've disinfected. Get yourself some permethrin-based prevenamine or something similar. Do this outside where it's well ventilated. Just do that and let it sit for a bit, let it air out. The key is you don't put the animal in right away, and you don't put any water back in for 24 hours. Even once you've let it all dry, give it 24 hours, no water, then put the water back in. You don't want anything aerosolizing in that water. That is bad stuff. Okay, Mr. Rosy Boa has had a good soak. His bin has been disinfected and treated with prevenamite, and it's been rebed. Anything, any paper bedding, anything like that, any organic matter's got to be tossed, and you start fresh every time you do this. And if you do have an active mite infestation, I would recommend doing this treatment once a week. If you do it once a week for 6 weeks minimum, you will in theory hit all of the various life stages of the mites that are susceptible to the permethrin, because there are a few stages of life where mites are not susceptible to that treatment. So you essentially want to cover all your bases. The soaking helps, and so does that treatment. And in tandem, you'll have a very gentle, successful eradication of any external parasites. But be very careful with that permethrin-based stuff. Don't spray your animal with it directly. Again, don't put the water back in. I can't reiterate that enough. Give them 24 hours without water, please. Now, I know this doesn't look like much, and it's not very exciting for the snake or for us to look at, but that's not the point of quarantine. The point of quarantine is to make sure the animal is in a sterile environment where you're controlling as many variables as possible, eradicating the presence of any external parasites, and making sure it's nice and clean and easy for you to observe any abnormalities or irregularities. This is obviously not how this animal is going to be kept long term. So delete those hateful comments if that's what you're doing right now. I promise I care about these animals. They're not going to just live like this. But paper, sterile, disinfectable stuff, or stuff that you can toss is essential. Don't do particulate bedding. Don't do any wood, sticks, or branches like that. It's all essentially compromised if you have any external parasites in that enclosure when those organic pieces are in there. So unless you feel like treating all of that stuff and dunking it and bleaching it and all that good stuff, keep it simple, real simple. And like I said earlier, quarantine, it's not going to be perfect if you don't have a whole nother separate building. So don't beat yourself up about it. Even if you only have a studio and you have to use the other side of the room, if that's all you can do, that's all you can do. But just remember, cross-contamination procedures, anything that you could do to make sure your quarantine is taken care of last or on separate days is going to do you wonders. The good rule of thumb is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And honestly, the more you do on the front end, it will save you so much headache later on. I promise, even trusted sources, it's always good to quarantine, no matter who it is. It doesn't say anything about them necessarily. It's just being cautious. And I do it for all my snakes. So just wanted to kind of give you guys a little insight on what's going on. The diamonds, the rosy boas, and some poplins are all in quarantine, and they're all going through the same process, and they're doing really well. They're all eating amidst all of this. They're not stressed. So take it from me, this is a great way to delicately treat any incoming animals that you have if you're concerned, but it's also just a good baseline for any snakes coming in. So with that, I'll leave you guys. Enjoy your weekends. Hope everybody had fun Memorial Day, Labor Day, whatever it was. I don't know. I can't keep track of holidays. I'm sure kids are back in school. They know better than me. But anyway, don't forget, go check out Heli Guy Serpents. If you need any 3D printed stuff, it's all PVC and washable, so it's perfect for quarantine stuff. You can disinfect it and reuse it. So go hit him up. He's running discounts. If you're doing any shipping this summer, don't forget to use Reptiles Express. They're the best. Use code Riley50 to get you some discounts. PremiumCrickets.com. They will ship feeders to your door if you don't have a local feed source. So check them out. Give them a shout. Use code Riley15, I believe, at checkout to get 15% off. Don't forget to become a member of USARK in USARK, Florida. We need them. They're the only body of folks who work against illegal or unjust legislation keeping us out of the reptile loop. So we should support them. They support us. And last but not least, if you want to support what we're doing here, Riley Jimison on patreon.com. Pretty easy to find. Love my patrons. They get inside scoop, access to babies early, discounts on merch, all sorts of fun stuff like that. We've got a really awesome Discord community growing. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good people in there. So come on down. All right, this heat is getting to me. I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to clean the rest of quarantine and get on out of here, because we're going to Disneyland.